3, 2, 1.
Pets are great. I happen to know from experience. They're fun to snuggle. They make you laugh. They do tricks. They bring you your slippers. They fight to defend your honor. They have lots of flashy superpowers. They can kidnap a spouse for you. What? Am I saying something strange? Case in point, Prince Toma. He is a young boy who lives alone on a giant rock in the middle of nowhere, a mysterious mobile island called Togenkyo. The waters that stream through this magical isle have specific properties which could be considered both a blessing and a curse. Any creature to come in contact with the springs of Togenkyo would instantly develop male human traits. Just one splash, and a simple creature would instantly walk upright, receive an upgrade in intelligence, and if said creature were female, it would net a sweet hoopajoo. Unless touched by a female human, the creatures would retain certain animal characteristics, leaving they exotic, often grotesque hybrids of man and beast. As such, these creatures, these men, are blessed with animalistic abilities. Monkey men can climb. Dog men attack with blind fury. Bird men can fly. Needless to say, the island of Togenkyo is overrun by these mutates, most of they seeking solace in the deep woods. Which brings us back to Prince Toma. His parents left this world when he was very, very young, leaving he in charge of the island, its monstrous jungle stronghold, and hundreds of servants, guards, and employees, all male, of course. That blasted curse would prevent a female from ever treading Togenkyo's sands, leaving Toma neutered to ever find a true companion. With his libido in a rage, he needed to snatch a woman from elsewhere. He needed to do it stealthily to protect the integrity of Togenkyo. His armed guards wouldn't cut it. Prince Toma needed hired guns with mad skills, and so he went and got himself some pets. Say hello to Wonton. No, not that Wonton. Think more the wanton destruction of outsiders. He is the half-human, half-dog hired muscle of Prince Toma, and when I say muscle, I mean literally piles of it. I mean, the guy's a friggin' wall, his body almost a perfect square. He is a faithful guard dog, one who fights while standing his ground and moving as little as possible. Plop Wonton in front of a door or hallway, and no human shall ever pass. Just because he is a stationary target doesn't mean he lacks speed. His speed and precision are unrivaled. With hairline exactness, he dodges an opponent's blows out of sheer animal instinct, and the Hulk-like blows he dishes out in return can obliterate an opponent in one mere swat. Boom shakalaka! Man's best friend to the utmost fault, Wonton is blindingly loyal to Prince Toma like the lapdog he is, and as such he doesn't have a great deal of gray matter between his floppy little ears. What he possesses in speed, power, and finesse, he lacks in know-how. Of all Toma's flunkies, Wonton has retained most of his animal traits, and just like a trusting little puppy wagging his tail for attention, Wonton can easily be fooled and controlled by kindness, and is helpless to food and playtime. With instinct his greatest blessing, and greatest curse, Wonton stands tall as Prince Toma's first line of defense to his throne. A pit bull who does not ask questions, does not talk back, just snaps into action. With hundreds of gulls flitting about the terra firma, one would imagine there to be hundreds of half-human, half-bird creatures littered about Togenkyo. One would imagine none of they possess the raucous ability and unique style of Prince Toma's number 2 guy, Toristan. Loyal vizier to Prince Toma, Toristan is a slave to fashion, with a particular affinity for feathers, and in stark contrast, hides his face behind an eerie mask. As big a glamour-puss Toristan is, he is deeply shameful of his head, an oblate spheroid on a skinny turkey neck, with bug eyes on loan from Cologne, stiff night elf mohawk and nagging chicken beak. This is one head that cannot be dolled up in any feasible way. Under the mask, he can still be beautiful, and he would never dare take it off, not even for his comrades. Standing over Prince Toma, he is rigid as a cedar, tall, lanky, frighteningly quiet and proper. But should a threat arise, Toristan becomes a statue suddenly animated, moving at an impossible frame rate. In battle, he pulls a complete 180, all that prim and proper shit goes right out the window. Toristan hits his opponent with a very wild, whippy, herky-jerky fighting style. With long, slender, winged sleeves of white, he careens into the air with no wasted movement! His forte is in his long-range attacks. From afar, he likes to bombard his opponent like a mad bomber, throwing little feather plumes with syringe-sharp tips with reckless abandon! Just like Moose, he has an arsenal of weapons concealed in his wingspan, any one of they ready to pull in the midst of battle to catch his opponent unaware. Should Toristan fare against a more wily transgressor, he can rely on his signature move, Feather Blizzard, in which he draws a nice space cushion and explodes into a cloud of white feathers which snow onto the opponent, making Toristan's following blows invisible to the eye. As hot and wild as this sovereign stork is, he will go twice as hard should his opponent fudge with his mask. God forbid his beach ball head become exposed. Toristan will go into what only can be described as a controlled frenzy. A second Toristan Super Turbo Hyper Edition with amped up speed, agility, and strength! The only attribute to decrease is his moral code, as he isn't thinking anymore. From White Swan to Black Swan, with searing rancor, Toristan wants to kill his opponent with death! A feat he is more than able to carry out. The ultimate dichotomy of grace and inhumanity, Toristan is an unassuming threat in Prince Toma's clique. And unless you like the feeling of being impaled with sharp objects, maybe it's better to leave this puffed up peacock to his own devices.
Ow! Did somebody mention a bird with pizzazz?
Oh no, it's too early for you again.
But all I wanted to say was...
Go away! No buts, no buts!
Ow! Pish tosh!
Where the river meets the ocean, where the monkey meets the man. Prince Toma's #1 guy, Sarutoru, was the fortunate one. As monkey and man are so close on the evolutionary scale to begin with, his animal traits are almost a wash. His intellect, practically that of a normal human being. The beast within can only be seen in his mannerisms. Once in a while he apes out when he speaks, and like a chimpanzee at the zoo pounding his pink pecker, he can be a bit of a scoundrel when it comes to sexual persuasion. But moreover, he is an intellectual superior to his crew, and for that he has been bestowed a great deal of power. He acts as a vice president of Togenkyo, and has full control of Toma's armies. Sarutoru is a smooth talker and an excellent informant. It is often Sarutoru who does Prince Toma's talking for him. And, through his unique abilities bequeathed upon him through basking in Togenkyo's waters, he is most useful as an emissary to scout far from the shores of Togenkyo and abduct Toma's concubines. While his transformation has its share of monkey upgrades such as agility, balance, and climbing ability, his greatest asset is his dominion over the world of shadows. He has full control of these 2D planes of darkness and can use them in tons of different ways. Stealthily, he can slip into a shadow like sliding into a hole and ride it at light speeds wherever he so chooses. These black vessels can accommodate not just him, but the whole crew if necessary. Sure beats riding around in a school bus. To kidnap Prince Toma's would-be wives, Sarutoru need but slide his shadow under the young woman's feet and slurp her in, simple as that. But, as if Sarutoru's skills couldn't possibly get any cooler, here we have Shadowfall! Standing before his enemy, Sarutoru raises his arms like Moses parting the Red Sea, and Ryoga, look out! Look out! Sarutoru's shadow then rises above the opponent on all sides and envelops him in darkness. While in the noxious ether's parapsychological affluence, the opponent's mind is dragged elsewhere. Stare into the eyes. No one is whole. Just like Sarutoru drags people physically into the darkness, so too does he, through Shadowfall, dragging human minds deep into the darkest zones between human subconscious and unconsciousness.
If you're in there, speak to me!
I no longer have the right to love you.
A person's dark side will gnaw away at him, leave him helpless, place him in an alternate reality, a nightmare-induced coma, where all fear and trepidation is as real can be.
Go away, Yoga. Make me sick.
The mind is in an unending battle, trying to resurface from the swirling mire of its own mental hell, where the body is rendered a useless piece of garbage!
The dark.
She can never love you. Where am I? Whoa, that was intense. Of the possible man-animal hybrids of Togenkyo, these three, Wonton, the simple-minded instinctual cur, Toristan, the ferocious winged murderer, and Sarutoru, the methodical master of shadow. They are head and shoulders above the rest, and more than deserving to be a part of Prince Toma's royal guard. Just as we would go to a kennel or a pet store or a breeder and choose the pet that best suits us, that fulfills our criteria, so did Toma choose. And he needed it all: brains, brawn, stealth, and an appetite for destruction. Even Ranma Saotome and his pals will have a tough time surmounting the incredible challenge put forth by these enigmatic foes. How or if they'll succeed is anybody's guess. But, to look at it from a different angle, it can get pretty lonely at the top. Prince Toma is sequestered on the floating island of Togenkyo. Most human beings dismiss its existence as a load of bubkiss. Toma has no connection to the outside world. His whole family, dead and buried. The curse of his island would prevent he from finding his true love. Toma's hundreds of guards and servants are more than just employees. They are, dare I say, like family?
Recapture them, fools! Not one must escape!
Okay, at times he refers to them as fools, but he is a spoiled brat, don't forget. And as a family, Wonton, Toristan, and Sarutoru play their role perfectly. the role of man's best friend. They make great pets. They make great pets.
This has been a Ranma 1/2 character profile.
An extra special thanks go out to DK Pam, Racer Rabbit 93, and Laura Luna Fantasy for the requests.
This profile was brought to you in part by KJ.